Are you new to fishing and you don't know how to choose a reel? In this video, I'm going to explain the basics of understanding what the different reels are and what they're used for. Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. I'm going to talk about reels today. I know a lot of you are new to fishing. I get these emails and text messages asking if I could just explain some of the basics. And so that's what we're going to do today. And we're going to start with reels, okay? There are a ton of choices out there. I mean, there's tons of manufacturers. And with every manufacturer, they have tons of choices. Everything ranging from freshwater for the beginner and kids, all the way up to the professional anglers that fish in the saltwater and deep sea fishing. So I'm going to break this down for you today. Let's just start with this little guy right here. Now, don't let this size fool you. This is called a spin cast reel. Very easy to use. One of the most popular spin cast reels that were ever produced was made by Zebco, and it was called the Zebco 33, and they still make them to this day. Now, this is on a kid's pole for doing some trout fishing. Very small in nature, but very simple to use. It has a handle for reeling in, it has a drag set, and it has a button that you press to let the line out, okay? Now, on this reel, the only way to engage the reel and start retrieving your fish or your line out of the water is to turn the handle. And when that turns, it has a knob in there that protrudes and catches that line. These are pretty foolproof reels. You're really gonna have to work hard at getting this reel tangled up. Now, that said, let's talk about features that all reels have. A reel is gonna have some way that you can retrieve, okay? This has a single handle retrieve handle on this reel. All reels are going to have some type of drag system. And what I mean by drag is that when the fish hits and you are fighting the fish, if it turns its head away from you, it's able to take some line back to the direction the fish is swimming. Now, drag is not bad because drag really comes into play depending upon the type of line you're using. So if you're fishing a much lighter line, drag is your friend. It's going to take a little longer to get your fish in, but if your drag is too heavy on a light line, you're going to break the fish off. So it's going to have, all reels are going to have some type of drag mechanism. And then they're going to have some type of trigger that you are able to cast your lure or bait or whatever you have on the end of your rod, or to let it out, okay? And we'll get into that. So that's our spin cast. Again, very easy reel to use. I know adults to this day that fish the full-size version of this, bass, trout, crappie, even salmon. So that is a real option for you. It's especially good for kids. This is a great way to get kids casting and retrieving before they get into the more complicated type reels. So the next one I'd like to talk about is a spinning reel. Now, I talked about a spin cast. This is a spinning reel. Now, as I mentioned, all reels have drag. Your better quality spinning reels will have the drag on the front of the spool rather than a knob at the back of the reel. So this one is on the front of the spool. This is a very nice reel. I fish these for steelhead and salmon in the rivers. It's just a great reel. Now, it also has drag. You can see I'm pulling the line out and it makes some clicking noise. That clicking noise that you hear, that you can't adjust. That's going to be there on the drag. You can't turn that off. That's pretty standard on this type of reel. Now, the device that you use to deploy the line here is slightly different than the push button, because what you need to do is, as this reel is on a rod, you'll rotate the top of the bail up You'll capture the line with your finger, okay? And then you'll open the bail, and then you will cast. As you release your finger, the line comes off the spool, as you can see in the video. Very easy to use this type of reel. They're very dependable. You can foul this reel if you're not careful. This type of reel can be used with monofilament, copolymer, fluorocarbon, braid. There's all sorts of line options that people will use on a spinning reel. I would say next to the spin cast reel, the spinning reel is the second easiest reel to master, both in casting and also just fishability. These reels come in a variety of sizes. They come very big for fishing offshore for pelagic fish. If you happen to be a right or left-hander, spinning reels, you're able to change the handle side to one side or the other simply by removing the knob, unscrewing the handle, and putting it in on the other side. You're not able to do that with the spin cast reel. You need to buy either a right or a left hand model. Same goes for all your bait cast and round type reels. You have to buy either a right or left hand. But with spinning reels, you can buy a spinning reel and you can adjust the handle from one side to the next. All right, so let's get into low profile reels. Low profile reels are extremely popular, probably more so for bass and crappie than any other fish in the United States. However, there are a lot of guys in the Pacific Northwest that are also fishing low profile reels for salmon and steelhead. The reason these reels are so perfect for this type of fishing is because of the castability. Low profile reels are designed to cast. Unlike a larger line counter reel, which I'll get in a moment, you can't cast that, but you can cast this. It has quite a bit of adjustment. So our drag on here is a star drag. If we turn it counterclockwise, it's going to loosen the drag. If we tighten it clockwise, it tightens the drag. On here, on low profile reels, there will be a knob somewhere near the star. And with this adjustability, this is what allows the line to come off either really fast or somewhat controlled. Now, inside of most of your quality low profile reels, there are going to be magnets that you can adjust for castability. Okay, it's not going to have anything to do with the retrieve, but it's for casting because your lures weigh different weights, and you know, a soft plastic may weigh a tremendously amount less than say a 6-inch swim bait. So you have adjustability so that when you cast this, you don't get what a lot of people refer to as backlash, which is where the line gets all bundled up inside the spool. I like to call it a professional overrun. So bait cast reels take practice. You can flip them, you can pitch them, you can cast them, you can skip your baits. There's a lot that you can do with a low profile bait cast reel. Most of your low profile bait cast reels will come with a double handle setup so that as you're fishing, whether you're right or left-handed, you can just reach up and grab one of these handles and you can start reeling down on your fish. So that's your low profile. Now, we don't see too many of these anymore. This is a round bait caster. Now, I've had this reel probably 35 years. I'm certain they don't make this one anymore, but it's a quality reel, and so I still have it, although I very rarely use it anymore. Now, a low or a round bait cast reel, it's designed to cast, okay? Now, the interesting thing about this reel, you can also use it for trolling, okay? So trolling is a method where you don't cast your bait or lure out, you just simply start letting line off of the spool into the water because the boat is moving forward. This was a very popular reel in the early 90s. I fished this a lot for salmon and steelhead. But you need to fish a little heavier type of bait, a little heavier weight in order to cast this efficiently. I wouldn't be throwing, floating some 1/8 ounce or even 1/4 ounce jigs for that matter with this reel. I did a lot of pitching with this reel. So I would just pitch my bait out and let it drift down. It was very effective. Again, this is where the drag is. And then here's where we adjust to let the line out either fast or more controlled, more smoothly. Now, unlike the low profile bait cast reel, this round bait caster does not have any other adjustments other than this right here. There are no magnets on the inside, so reels have made a huge leap in technology to make them more castable for your use. Now, one thing this reel does have is it has a clicker. Now, right now the clicker's off, so if I pull line, it's quiet. If I reel in, there's no noise. But if I turn the clicker on, that's line being taken out, and that's line reeling in. So there is some noise there. It's very helpful, especially if you're using this reel to troll. A lot of people like to have that click, and what they'll do is they'll set their drag a little lighter, so when the fish hits, they hear the drag, they know they have a fish on, they grab the rod and reel, they tighten up the drag one turn, and they set the hook. So that is our round bait caster. Now we're going to get into something very different. Now this reel, this is a line counter reel, okay? On top of the reel, there is a counter. So when you have your bait back at the tip of the rod, you're able to press a button here and it resets it to 0. So what this is very helpful for is to know how much line is off the spool. This reel also has a clicker so that if your fish strikes, you'll know it. It's a pretty loud clicker, and it also clicks on the reel in. This reel is designed for trolling. Whatever it is you want to troll, whether it's hoochies, it's big gear for, pelagic fish, what have you. This tells you how much line is out, and then lets you know as you're fighting the fish, if the fish is running, how much line you're either losing or gaining. This reel, a lot of reels like this will come with a single handle option and also a double handle option. I use this reel for sturgeon fishing, and I like the single handle option because it did provide more control for my clients. So I kept the single handle on here, and this has just been a great reel. This reel's probably 14 years old now, still very serviceable, still a great reel. Then we're going to jump into a reel that's a little larger, and really it looks the same as the line counter reel. It doesn't have a counter on it, but it does look the same. And so you have to ask yourself, well, what's the difference? Well, on these reels that I've talked about, they've had star drags. They've got stars at the handles, and that's where you set the drag. This is a lever drag reel, which means this lever is the drag on it. And what you do is you preset the drag in the off position using this knob here. You set that, and once it's adjusted, that is now your drag, so that when your fish either hits, when the lever's in a particular place, it'll start pulling line. Okay? It also clicks on the way back in, or, like all the others, you can turn that off. So it pulls out, that's just the sound of the line coming out, and that's your drag right there. Now the nice thing about lever drag reels, especially for me as a charter captain, is people don't mess with the drag because they don't know how. And you can't adjust the drag when the lever's in the forward position. it does have an option so that you can press in on a button and push it all the way forward. That is maximum drag for this reel. The danger in that is to make sure that you have the right size line so you don't lose your fish because you break your line or you break the hook. So again, these reels, this is a single handle model. I could change it out and get a double handle on there, but this is what I like to fish for this particular type of reel. So again, you guys, there are thousands of reel options. This is the basics. Spin cast, spinning, bait cast, and that's a low profile bait cast. Then we have round bait cast. And then your other round conventional reels are going to be used for trolling, right? Letting your gear out. And they make reels so much more bigger than this. I'm sure you'll see them on TV if you watch some of the tuna shows. We'll get into line on another video, but this is just the basics. I hope this information has been very helpful to you. If you like our videos, give me a thumbs up. And if you hit that bell icon, you'll get notified of our new videos that are coming out. Until next time, thanks for watching.